Alright, hey guys, welcome back to the video, and today we have a new update, and by new updates I mean a new hotfix, but it's actually pretty significant. It has actually actual changes for single player and multiplayer, as well as changes for both, and as you can see, it is pretty substantial with the bug fixes and crash fixes. So in this video we're going to go over it, for all you guys who are playing on PlayStation and Xbox. This is still beta 1.2. It's still in beta. This hotfix is getting us closer to moving into live, but you guys still do not have access to this, unfortunately. But like always, once that is out, or once the devs talk more about it, I will keep you guys informed in another video. By the way, I upped the volume a little bit. I don't know if this is better. I can't really tell, but some of you guys said that my volume is a little bit low, so I did up it. Hopefully it is better. Hopefully you can hear me more clearly, or let me know and I will fix it further. But moving on, let's talk about this. All right, so we're gonna go over the whole patch and what's inside, and I am gonna summarize the fixes because there are a bunch of fixes, but I have written down the most important ones. Not written down, but kind of like copied and pasted the most important ones that I think affects the most players. So let's go over it. So first we have single player crash fixes. They're pretty much, I would say they're all pretty okay. So you have a fix a crash that occur when loading older saves. Good, obviously, if you are playing from an older save and you want to move that save to a newer version of the game, obviously that's pretty good to not have it crash. So if you did have a corrupt save, or if you did have a save that crashed a lot, that was an older save, go try it now. That might have changed. Then you have a fix a crash that occurred randomly while entering missions. Good. Missions can mean anything. It could mean like, what's it called? Going into battle, going into a town, anything of that nature. Also one when quitting during the order of battle phase. Okay. And just a little bit of extra changes. Extra crash fixes that are always good to see. Now onto these single player fixes right over here. So these are the most important ones. There's a lot more. I'm going to link the full thread down below if you want to read all of them. But just to keep this video good and tidy, here are the most important ones, I think. So first, they fixed a bug that caused the agents' melee combat ability to be significantly reduced and thus not be able to defend themselves properly due to their inability to correctly identify if they are within the opponent's attack range. So this was a problem where 1.2 did actually improve a lot of combat, but it also significantly kind of like, the opposite of improved melee combats, because for some reason a lot of melee troops didn't really understand if their enemy was attacking or defending, so they would constantly switch between their shield and their sword, and that pretty much caused them to be kind of like ineffective because they really didn't do anything and they were very easily taken down. But now that is fixed. They will properly identify what their enemy that they're facing is doing so they can properly defend or attack. Then they fixed a bug that caused agents to randomly change blocking direction during melee fights. Again, kind of like a piggyback off the other change. Just made melee troops or agents, whatever you want to call them, a lot better at blocking and identifying what the enemy is doing. Then they fixed a bug that caused notables and governors to leave their settlements. So it's kind of crazy. Some people, I guess, had towns that were ghost towns and had no notables, but that is now fixed. Then they fixed a bug that caused disbanded parties to join armies instead of disbanding. This has been a problem for a very long time, but it's good to see a fix now. Disbanded parties always had like some issue of actually disbanding sometimes. Sometimes they would join armies. Sometimes they would just continuously keep roaming around. But hopefully that is fixed now. Then they fixed a bug that caused bandit parties to vanish if you choose to fight them, but then they surrendered. So if you choose to fight them, but they surrender. Okay, so whenever, bandits surrender to either become your prisoner or join you, if you still chose to fight them, they would disappear. That is now fixed. Then they fixed a bug that caused Iron Man mode to not affect the game. So you would choose Iron Man mode in the settings when you start the game, but it actually wouldn't be Iron Man mode, just be regular. That is now fixed. Then they fixed a bug that caused the barter offer bar to not be filled properly. Now, I don't know if this just means by, like, it wouldn't be filled properly as in the amounts were not the same, or does it mean just kind of the animation of the bar? but either or, that is fixed. Then they fixed the bug that caused crafted item weight and handling parameters to be displayed incorrectly on the crafting pop-up screen. Pretty big, pretty significant, especially if you're doing orders that need to be specifics. Need to be specific to the order. These being displayed incorrectly could affect your success. So now it's fixed. Then they fixed the bug that caused heroes to be assigned to the wrong formations. Another one kind of important if you're about your formations. That is now fixed as well. Now moving on to the changes for single player. So they first changed legendary and masterwork crafting requirements. Legendary items can only be crafted from crafting parts with a combined average of 4.5 or higher, and then masterwork items can only be crafted from crafting parts with a combined average tier of 3.5 and higher. So now, whenever you're making a weapon in the smithy, what's it called? If you want to get a legendary weapon, you have to have this average, and if you want to get a masterwork weapon, you have to have this average or above. I like it. I like the new system. I think that's okay. Maybe I'll see what other people say. I don't do a lot of smithing, but I've done a good amount in my days. Then they slightly increased crafting chances for fine, masterwork, and legendary items if the crafting difficulty requirements are met. Okay. So pretty much they upped this, but they also, if you do meet these requirements, if you're in that range, then you have a high chance of getting one. Okay, makes sense. And they lowered the Mastersmith perk effect to 7.5% chance to craft a masterwork quality. Okay, so they kind of balanced it out. They made it a little bit easier to get if you meet the tier requirements, but also the perk has been lowered to kind of balance it out. Okay. Next, breaking out from siege will now always be available instead of being available only for the commander of the siege. If the player is in an army, upon breaking out of the siege, the player will lose relations with the army leader and army members. So now you can actually back out. So if you're part of an army, let's say you're a vassal, and then you join someone's army, or if you're a mercenary, if a siege is going on and you know that your side is going to lose, and you don't mind losing some relationship with the army leader and the army members, well, you can now escape with your life. Pretty good. Okay, it's a little choice you have to make. Those little choices are very good additions to the game, so good to see. Then they reduced spacing of troops in the square formation to improve its effectiveness against cavalry charges. Good, makes them better. Then agents that follow another agent now consider their target's velocity and decide to run instead of walking more often. So what this means is, for example, if an enemy is starting to run away, whoever that enemy was facing, whatever troop that enemy was facing, that troop will now start running if it senses that its opponent is running, if that kind of makes sense, instead of just walking every single time. Cool. Next, they mounted and on-foot captains are now by default auto-assigned to mounted and on-foot formations, respectively. They can still be manually switched to any formation. Cool. Now they get assigned, not to the. They pretty much now don't get mismatched. Before, sometimes a mounted captain could be with an on-foot formation of, let's say, archers. It's kind of weird, doesn't work. But now, if you don't really mess with it, the right captains will go to the right formations. Good to hear. Next, it is now required to confirm unsaved changes in the party screen before starting a conversation with a companion. So all this means is, for example, let's say you go to your party screen and let's say you upgrade like 3 troops, and then you want to talk to your companion. First, you have to press confirm changes, and then go back into the party screen and then talk to a companion. Okay? But if you don't make any changes to any of the troops or anything else like that in the party screen, then you can just talk to the companion right away. Okay? There probably was some issues with how the game works with that, but that's probably like a quick fix, right? Then they have bandits that are inside a nearby hideout will now be counted as quest progress for the landowner needs help with brigand's quest. So now if you have this landowner needs help with brigands, if you take out a hideout, let's say there's like 4 parties in that hideout, I'm guessing those 4 parties will count towards the quest. That's pretty cool. So you can kind of finish that quest very quickly if there is a hideout nearby. And that also adds, wow, because because now there's 3 quests that you should take whenever you need to take out the hideout. There's a quest in the village where if you take out a hideout, they give you extra gold. And also there's a quest in the town. If you take out the nearby hideout, you get extra gold. And now also this quest can get finished quicker by taking out a hideout. That's some good synergy right there. Next, they changed the Archer's weapon in custom battles. Cool. We're going to check those out. Then they removed references of obsolete kingdom policies. Interesting. And then they improved and fixed various translations. You'll love to see it. Now moving on to multiplayer. Now don't click off the video just yet. I know multiplayer, kind of sleeper. Unfortunately, not too many people play it. But there's also both changes that are coming as well with some significant changes, okay? So let's go multiplayer very quickly. So first, they fixed a client crash that occurred when joining the siege mode and also when saving or loading taunts. There it is. Now for fixes, I wrote down my top ones right here, M fixes. First, they fixed a bug that caused miscalculations of gained or lost MMR after ranked games. Kind of important. If you're playing ranked, you kind of want your MMR to be counted correctly, so it makes sense. Then they fixed a bug that caused the player to be stuck on the please wait screen when logging out and in quickly. There it is. That is now fixed. Then they fixed a bug that allowed a non-leader party member to cancel the matchmaking queue. Finally, that's been a problem for a little bit, as I've read in the forums. Good to see it. And then they fixed a bug that prevented items from being unequipped in the armory. Good. So now you can unequip your items. Now moving on to changes for multiplayer. So players that have throwable weapons can now block with a shield without getting staggered. Trying to throw the weapon will, however, still stagger you. Interesting. They also increased the stagger arc for archers, making it easier to be triggered. And then they added a tooltip to the taunt radical. Oh, I said radical. Radial. That is not how you say it either. Is it radial? Radial menu? Listen, it's not a word I say often, all right? And I don't need everybody in the comments to be like, oh my God, I can't believe you said it this way. Leave me alone, all right? Menu, explaining why specific taunts cannot be used. Cool. And then they added previous default cheers as free taunts. We're back out here. We're free. We're outside. Listen. Now, moving on to both. So this is both multiplayer and single player. We have first, they fixed a bug that caused combat shouts to be unusually loud and their volume unchangeable. Good. So sometimes troops in your formation would be very loud. You couldn't change it and it wouldn't move with the volume sliders. But now it works good and there won't be no more loud shouting. Good fix. And then for changes, they increased the animation speed of pushing the ladder. So the ladders get pushed down a little bit quicker. And they also changed the threshold value, which determines if the ladder is pushable when there are troops climbing on it according to the ladder length, giving players and AI more time to push the ladders. So that was one of the big points that even, Strat Gaming came out and he made. That was one of the points in his video where he said that, pushing ladders, while it's a cool thing to add, it doesn't really work because, you can't really ever time it right. It takes too long, and usually once a troop is on it, by the time it takes you to push the ladder, it's going to get pushed back on you because the troop's already going to be like almost halfway up the ladder. So now this can actually, hopefully this changes how the ladder mechanics work and makes it so the defenders have a good advantage when it comes to pushing down the ladder. Therefore, saving, well, not saving, but technically saving more of their numbers for longer before, the siegers actually get inside their, or on top of their walls, right? And then for modding, they fixed a crash that occurred on modded scenes due to the limit of number of entities used. There it is. No more crashes, baby. We're out here. But that's going to do it for patch 1.2.3. It's another hotfix. They said that multiple hotfixes are coming. That was a part of their little updates. What's it called? I'm pretty sure it's up here even. There it is. He said there will be more hotfixes before we reach that point. And that point is, for all the PlayStation and Xbox players, that point will be reached where you guys get access to 1.2 whenever the rest of these hotfixes do come out. And also, just if you guys didn't know, whenever patch 1.2.0 comes out on PlayStation and Xbox, it will come with all these patches. It will be the final version, whatever it is, with the hotfixes, okay? So if we end at like patch 1.2.5 and then it comes to PlayStation and Xbox, you guys will get all of these hotfix changes that I've been showing off in the videos. Okay. But that's going to do it for me. Let me know how my sound is doing. Is it better? Is it louder? And I will see you guys in the next one. By the way, a lot of Baldur Gate 3 content is coming. I'm kind of in love with the game. I've been posting a lot on my second channel. Second channel link will be down below. But yeah, some of like the cool quests and stuff I might post on here. So you might see a little bit of that content because it's quite a good game. Quite a good game. All right, I'll see you guys in the next one. Yeah, thanks for all the support.